The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And good morning to you, one and all. Welcome to a Friday. Welcome to Freedom Friday. Yes, indeed, it is Freedom Friday. Every Friday we like to take things a little bit lighter here on the Rod Eccles Show. As you well know, if you are a regular listener, if you're new, you can talk about anything you want, just about anything at all under the sun. Just keep it clean, please. The call-in number is 603-835-3226. We do this every Friday in order to celebrate us sliding on into the weekend. It doesn't mean that we don't have our issues sometimes, because this morning we had... we had a Spreaker issue, saying something about exceeding some sort of limit. Now, I don't have that kind of limit, so it wasn't booting up for broad. Well, it lets you boot up, but then it would not let me go on air, which doesn't make any sense actually. So, and that's combined, I believe. That's combined with the website going down, no fault of mine, however. It's just these things happen, I suppose. It really frustrates me. So some changes will be made this weekend. We'll be doing something. Well, we'll be contacting Spreaker for this issue. That's for damn sure. Why do I have all these issues? Is this what people do have to go through on a daily basis when they're running a program? Unless they're self-hosting, I don't know. It may be. I would like to think not, but who knows? Anyway, 603-835-3226 is the call-in number. Should you wish to join the program, it is. I don't know what is today. Today is July the 21st. In the year of our Lord, 2007. So that means we're now, well, it's the end of the week. So that means next week is the final full week of July, basically. It's already. If you can actually believe that, it's already the end of July. Here, I got something here from. By the way, if you do not follow me on Twitter, you should. At Rod Eccles on Twitter. If you don't follow us over on the Facebook page, Facebook / the Rod Eccles Show, you should. If you don't follow me on alternative social media like Google Plus, which is the Rod Eccles Show. Or Gab.ai or LinkedIn or MeWe, you should. Easy to find. I make it very difficult. I just use Rod Eccles for everything. So I make it as hard as possible for people to find out where I am, who I am, that kind of thing. Or you could just do a Google search, or I would recommend a Bing search actually. I'm trying to get people away from using Google. But we have something here that if you like to, if you like to live off grid, if you want to be off grid, then I got something here for you. This is about as off-grid as it's going to get. It's in Alaska. Yeah, Alaska. I can see Russia from my house. Don't you know? There is a small little cabin. It's about a 900 square foot cabin on 5 acres of land. But it has 560 feet of beautiful private oceanfront. And it has mountain views. It's only $249,000. And it comes with an Ford F-250. But not that that's really going to help you too much, because really the only way to get there, I mean, if you look at where it is, it's on the southern shore of Alaska. You know how Alaska's curve when it comes up from Canada, the border of Canada, and you follow the curve up. It's on that southern shore. It's in what they call Day Harbor, which is just south of Seward, Alaska. And it was built in '85. But here's the rub. It is completely off-grid. But it's only $249 for 5 acres. Now, I've seen a lot, you ever seen the reality TV show Buying Alaska? Alaska runs the gamut for house pricing. I don't get the pricing up there. Especially with stuff that's off-grid. There's some of these places. Well, I mean, I guess they've invested in like solar and wind and alternative power and stuff. But there's no Wi-Fi. I don't think you're going to get cell coverage out there. This is truly some wilderness and lots of trees around you. But it is in southern Alaska, so it's not going to be as cold as places in northern Alaska. But because of the lack of the frigid temperatures, you may get more snow. But in any case, the only way to get there is by plane. So I don't even know how you by plane and boat. Seaboat or seaplane and a boat. It must have been a BIITCH to get all these stuff and equipment there to build the damn cabin in the first place. But if this is what you want, if you want to live out there in not be bothered. Why am I bringing you this? Well, because there are bunches and bunches of people out there who believe that the good old proverbial crap's about to hit the fan. And frankly, if you want to stay within these United States and not go to Canada, Alaska is the place to go. I know there's, you could do Montana, you could do the Dakotas, possibly northern Michigan, maybe northern Minnesota. You'd have to stay out of Washington State. Well, I guess the backcountry of Washington State might fit the bill, but it always seems to be places north. Or you could it would seem to me it might be a little bit tougher to go unnoticed somewhere in the Southwest desert. New Mexico, Arizona, places like that might be a little bit tougher, and it's definitely a little bit tougher to go unnoticed up here in New England. The interior of Maine, you might be able to get away with it. But not so much in Vermont or New Hampshire. It's even though the population is low up in the northern climes of New Hampshire and Vermont, it's still well traveled. It's not you don't easily get away. In Alaska, on the other hand, in parts of Canada, you could go for days without seeing anybody. You go for months without seeing another human being if that's what you wanted. In fact, there are places in Alaska where there are what is that region up in? I think it's the northeastern part of Alaska. It's miles and miles and miles, square mile, square after square mile after square mile. The population is 7 men. Yeah, that's it. 7 men, not women. 7 men. No, they don't live with each other either. Yeah, he's got to be strange in my book if you're going to be a man living alone in the middle of nowhere. Literally in the middle of nowhere. Living. You're not even going to get the Alaska State Trooper to come and visit you. You seriously. I mean, you are alone. That's insanity. But, so some people like it. So there you go. If you want to live alone in a 900 square foot off-grid cabin, you'll need a boat or a plane to get there. But it does come with a Ford F-250 truck. I'm guessing that's just used to survey your 5 acres and to get wood and stuff from your 5 acres. Other than that, there's no roadways. It is pioneer living at its best, I suppose. Yeah, and it is a cabin. It's 900 square. That's it. But no TV. Maybe you can get satellite. You probably get satellite. You could get like DirecTV or something, I'm sure. But yeah, there you go. So if that's what you want to get you want to get away from it all, then you can in Alaska for less than $250,000, which if you're anywhere in the lower 48, that's probably a huge bargain. You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avon Shave brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra-long extension cord, you can move around well, primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Alvon Shea gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
603-835-3226 on this Freedom Friday morning. That's the number that you could utilize to call in and say hi, say hello, talk about just about anything that you want. Yes, indeed. If you want to get away, now this is pretty big for some people, actually. You don't have to go to Alaska. But there are places, this is, well, you just make sure you don't run into preppers, because preppers, some of them are kind of not. We have some preppers here in New Hampshire, and actually pretty close to where I live, and they're an odd lot, and I don't know if this guy fancies himself to be a religious leader or not, but it's kind of, last time I saw him, it was an older guy. And it was a woman. It looks like they're two younger kids, and she's with him. And there was, and he was kind of walking like he was a spiritual or religious leader, and their home that they're still under construction looks like. I mean, he's doing it the right way as far as I'm concerned. Looks like he's paying as he goes. Instead of getting a mortgage, and neighbors talk about this family. You can't step foot on their property because she's very protective. Get off my! She's the proverbial get off my lawn type of person. You come onto her property for she's. It is amazing. I remember we were doing some work. The town or the state town, whatever, was doing some work, and we were doing some surveying, and we were, had to do some security. I have no idea why we need security around here for stuff like that, but it was doing some surveying and trying to go up to her to ask her permission for doing certain things that were going to have to be done without having to take her to court. And as soon as we stepped up her driveway, she's out of that front door, get off my property. And we tried talking to her, and she just, I'm going to call the cops. We're like, go ahead. We're here for a legit reason. It was and he had to calm her down. The old man, I guess the husband, had to calm her down and send her back into the house as he explained some of the things that he was doing. And he's kind of not a full prepper, but kind of sort of a prepper. You know those kind of people here in New Hampshire. So we explained what was happening because it was utility work, and he gave us very limited permission. I guess it's order to keep her from. Because whenever she would drive by, everybody says, neighbors, we talk to them about neighbors about them. They go, oh, yeah, she doesn't say hello to anybody. If you see her drive by in the car, and at that particular moment, she was getting in her car and driving away to pick up the kids, and she just looks straight ahead. She doesn't look at anybody. Got this stone angry look on her face all the time. And this guy made it clear that he didn't like government coming onto his land telling him what to do. I was like, well, we're not telling you what to do. We're just saying that there are certain aspects that have to be done because you're benefiting from this, by the way. You got power lines going to your house. So I don't want to hear any of this, well, anti-government, this, anti-government, that. I find that funny, too. These people are anti-government, but they use government facilities and government roads and all that kind of stuff. But, those kind of people, they're really kind of funny. Again, I'm not a person that is anti-government. I believe in limited government. Government does have a good role. can play a very good and substantial role in society, but it needs to be, government needs to be in such a way that you don't really notice it very often. You shouldn't notice it in your wallet. You shouldn't notice it in your property. You shouldn't notice it in your business, and you shouldn't notice it on the street, other than police and fire, first responders. It should be very innocuous and out of sight. That's good government, by the way. When everybody gets to live freely and is not overdue, they're not hindered by societal rules issued by government. You have the basics, and that's good. So government works best that you see and feel least. And as you may know, some of our problems when it comes to there's increased talk about trying to break up Amazon. Let me tell you something. When it comes to monopolies, you know who the problem with the monopolies are? Is government. Our government here in this country basically invented the monopoly. And when the monopoly does something that the government doesn't want, then that's when they get mad at the monopoly and wants to break them up. Now, that's BS. Monopolies do not hinder. Government monopolies do hinder advancement. It doesn't help it. The cell phone industry, anyone? When the government decided to let loose of the cell phone industry, it exploded, and now look what we have. Before it was just a couple.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
603-835-3226. Arriba, arriba. A little bit of south of the border action there for you in the bumper music. Just kind of makes you just want to. I don't know how do Mexicans dance? Rod, that is so racist, man. You cannot say Mexican. Well, that's where they're from. South of the border is Mexico. You know, people get all sensitive, overly sensitive about racial issues sometimes. They really do, and I hate it when I hate it when a liberal person comes up to me and says, "Well, you should know." Well, I should know what? I should know the pain and sorrow that your kind has foisted upon people like me. Is that what you're saying? It's really kind of interesting. You can always slam a liberal on the racist thing, because here, especially in some place, and I got stories here in the paper pile about some white liberals trying to chastise black conservatives and talking about racism as if the just because they're a conservative like myself. They don't know what racism is. Well, you just don't understand that. Okay, and you do? So, okay, Mr. Wonderful, millennial white liberal, when was the last time somebody pointed a gun at you because you were black? Well, never. Oh, I've had that happen, so you're telling me I don't understand? I love these people that do. I mean, I love people like that. It's just they because you don't think like them, then you obviously have not gone through anything and don't understand. And neither have they. Most of these wonderful white millennials. Now, I'm not trying to be racist here, but most of these white millennials, where do they come from? They come from well-bred middle class or upper middle class or even upper class. City neighborhoods, clean city neighborhoods, or suburbanites. They don't know a damn thing about what goes on inside the inner city in ghetto neighborhoods because most of them have never even been there, let alone live there. No, of course you've got some poor white people that understand. Those are the country folk. But again, they don't run into the same issues that you run into more in more urbanized places. And yes, I know because I've lived in the country with country folk, and I've lived in the city with city folk, and I've lived on military bases with military folk. I got a pretty good sense of the different types of where people live. And they each have their own unique issues, of course. But if you're white and you grew up in suburbia and you spent your weekends with your friends at the mall, you have no idea what that black or brown kid or yellow kid goes through as he's weaving in, trying to avoid gangs by ducking into back alleys, going back and forth to school every day. You don't have a clue. And you don't have a clue as to what they have to go through when they're facing the police, nor do you have a clue what the police have to go through in patrolling such areas. Now, of course, all they want to do is just jump on the police for stopping certain people. How you do stopping black people? Well, you know what? Here's a particular cop that patrols a particular few blocks, and in that few block area, its population is 98% black. So who else are they going to stop on the street? Because that's all that's on the street. And you guys want to do is just stop black people. Well, because they're the only people that live there. It's like going into Chinatown and then all of a sudden, having people saying, well, all you're doing is stopping Asian people. Well, in Chinatown, mostly Asian people live there. So who else are you going to stop? That's why they call it Chinatown. Just saying. I mean, you gotta look at where you are before you start complaining about something. Now, okay, I can understand if you live in an area where it's 99% white, and the only people that the cops keep stopping are brown and black people or yellow people. They don't stop any white people. Then you have an issue. But if you're in an area where, how come you never hear, in an area that's 98% white, all they do is stop white people? Never hear that, do you? Well, I guess maybe it's because white people deserve to be stopped, and black and brown people don't. I don't know their reasoning. They can never tell you that, they can never give you a logical explanation behind their so-called reasoning, because there isn't any. They don't have any. You've probably heard O.J. Simpson is headed to freedom. Now, I have no idea why they spent so much time. And look, I'm not going to spend a whole hell of a lot of time on this. This is ridiculous that we spend this much time on O.J. Simpson. Now, granted, I understand the circumstances. The reason they went after O.J. in this particular case, when he was accused and convicted of robbery, trying to regain control or possession of some of what he says was his memorabilia. And look, he was under he lost the loss. This is insanity. They went after him hard because he got off. He was acquitted of the murders of Ron Goldman and his former ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson. He was acquitted of. So they couldn't have that. So for the next, I don't know, was it about 10 years, 9 or 10 years? Every time O.J. Simpson made a move, they were on him like white on rice. They were looking, even if he jaywalked, they were going to maximize what they could possibly, their pound of flesh out of him. And the problem is that he knew this, but he was still stupid enough to go ahead with this plot that he had. I understand the pressure that he may have been under as far as the the Ron Goldman's family's lawsuit against him. It was like 11 or 20 million or something like that. It's up to like $30 million with interest and penalties and what have you now, which is really stupid and ridiculous. So basically, you know what I would do? If I were OJ and somebody wanted to pony up the money, he may be headed to reality TV. I'd say, you know what? Just pony up the $30 million, sign it over to Ron Goldman, and then I'm done with them too. Just do what ever you got to do in order to get the cash in hand to pay off this man, because he's a. I understand you believe that he killed your son, and that he got away with murder. I got it, but now all these years later, this is a man who is obsessed. I don't know what his home life is like right now. I would venture to guess it's probably not a happy one. Because all this guy does is just shadow O.J. Simpson. Whenever it even looks like, I mean, they haven't even been really talking about a potential reality TV show, and they're putting a microphone in front of Ron Goldman's face, and he's like, "We're on it, because if he gets a deal, we're getting the money, man." Are you kidding me? You have nothing better to do to try to, remember your son? He's a bitter man. And I don't care if he killed his son or not. I don't like Ron Goldman. The rest of the family does not seem to act like this man does, and neither does the Brown family. Goldman really needs to get a life. He needs to have some forgiveness in his heart, because it is eating him alive. Now, what happens if O.J. Simpson gets a deal, gets out of prison, gets a deal? By the way, yeah, he was pardoned, or not pardoned, but he's paroled. So it looks like he's getting out October 1st. So what happens if O.J. Simpson is somehow able to pay off this lawsuit amount? What is he going to do? I'm telling you, he's not going to stop pursuing and shadowing O.J. Simpson. And first of all, I've listened to all the legal pundits. I've listened to them all. And none of them have been able to logically tell me, if you are found not guilty, meaning you did not commit the murder. That's what being acquitted is. That's what being found not guilty is. You're innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in front of your peers. He was found not guilty. Now, whether he actually did it is irrelevant at that point. If he's found not guilty, how the hell is he responsible for their death? That's why I didn't buy into this civil lawsuit crap. Well, yeah, okay, OJ, maybe the reality is that a couple of gangbangers came along and killed them both, but you're responsible for the gangbangers. Really, in reality, that is what that civil lawsuit and judgment was all about. It didn't matter if he actually did it or not, didn't do it. That's irrelevant. Because the relevant part is that he was found not guilty of actually doing it. Meaning that people believe somebody else did it. So if somebody else did it, how is he responsible for somebody else's actions? It's not plausible, people. I'm sorry. There's no logic behind it. Now, if he was convicted of even just manslaughter, okay, now he's responsible for them. Go ahead with the lawsuit. And you can say whatever you want. Well, he did it. It doesn't really matter. The matter is, when it comes to the legal process, this guy was found not guilty, not responsible for the death of those two people. Again, whether he did it or didn't do it is irrelevant. He was found not responsible for it. So now you're going to take him into a different court? And you're going to get people to say, well, yeah, you did it anyway, so well, no, I didn't do it. Well, you did it. No, I did not. This is what OJ was saying. I didn't do it. I was found not guilty of doing it, meaning I didn't do it. And everybody was trying to spin it. Well, it doesn't mean that the jury thought he didn't do it. It's just no, folks, it's very simple. Reasonable doubt, meaning they doubt he did it because the prosecution didn't prove that he did it. Look, I've sat on juries before. I know how it works. And that's exactly what it means. Reasonable doubt means that you doubt that they did it. Whatever the crime is, I don't care if it's murder, if it's robbery, or if it's sexual harassment or assault, or if it's a cop abusing his power, it doesn't matter. The jurors can even say, well, you know what? Maybe he did do it. Look, I've sat in a very, very prominent case here in New Hampshire with a former city cop who was accused of sexual, harassment and abuse of power. Now, us in the jury room were sitting there and said, well, just by his attitude and it's a possibility he could have done it. But the problem is that they proved that he didn't do it, so maybe he didn't. So we can't find him responsible for what he's being accused of because they did not prove that he did it. Now, we can speculate, well, maybe he did do it. We did do that. We did speculate, well, maybe he did. Maybe he really did what he's accused of. But you know what? They didn't prove it. There's no proof that he did. So therefore, he's not responsible for that crime in a legal sense. Now, I couldn't imagine having, the victims of this former police officers deciding, well, now we're going to take him to civil court and sue him. When we found him not guilty because there was not enough proof or no proof that he did it. So how the hell are you going to change the burden of proof and then be able to say that he did it and he's responsible for it? That's just the way our system is intended to work. And frankly, we could all say OJ did it. The problem is that he was found not guilty of it, meaning that he didn't do it. Oh, that's not what it means, Rod. Yes, that's what it means. Because he can never be tried for that same crime again. He didn't do it. In legal terms, they were unable to prove it, so he did not do it. That's the equivalent. You can't prove it. The legal equivalent is you didn't do it. Therefore, he should not be held accountable in another court because somebody else is pissed off that the state didn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt. They did prove it. Really? Did they? We've when the verdict came out, for months and months after it, we heard all the pundits and talk about how the prosecution screwed up the entire case. Well, as far as reasonable doubt is concerned, maybe they screwed up the case. Do people ever think about this? And this is I'm not being facetious here. Maybe the prosecution screwed up the case because maybe, just maybe he really didn't do it. But nobody ever thinks about it at that angle. Maybe it's just because all these wonderful professional people with hours and hours and years and years and years of their profession under their belt, all of them, and there was a number of them, they all screwed up. All of them, from the police to the prosecutors, they all screwed up? Every single one of them? But you want to go ahead and hold Jay responsible for something that he was found not guilty for? I think that's a stretch, too.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
Yeah, I spent more time on the OJ thing than I really planned to or wanted to, but it's important that we understand we have a judicial system in this country that even the rank and file Americans seem to be forgetting today. You know, we convict people before they go to trial. You are innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law in front of your peers. That is the statute. The burden is not on the person accused to prove that you're innocent. The burden is on the state to prove that you are guilty. In other words, it's very difficult. Most of the time, it is very difficult to prove a negative, that you didn't do something. Especially if you don't have a quote-unquote alibi. And this is the way jurisprudence has been handed down throughout the centuries, where literally millions of innocent people have been punished and even put to death over crimes that they could not have possibly committed. Because the burden was always on them to prove that they were innocent. And our founders, they did something and thought something that was quite accurate and quite apropos. No, let's flip it. The state is accusing you of doing a crime, so the state should be the one who has to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. You shouldn't have to prove you're innocent. You can't do that. In most cases, you can't. Now, again, just coming from now, I'm not a professional jurist, but just from sitting on juries and going to law school, I can tell you it is nearly impossible to prove you're innocent. So just saying on that. That's why it is the way it is. And if you don't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, then legally speaking, you didn't do the crime. Reality is, under God, in the eyes of God, God knows if you did or didn't. And you'll have to face that judgment later on. But as far as mankind is concerned, if they can't prove it, you didn't do it. What did they say? What did Johnny call it? If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. He pissed off a lot of people with that line.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now.
We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. Yes, indeed. Here we are on this July number 21 in the year of our Lord 2017, which means it is a Friday indeed.
Welcome to Freedom Friday.
Yes, every Friday we take things a little bit lighter as we slide on into the weekend, as we celebrate regaining more and more of our freedom thanks to the current President, Donald J. Trump. Even if the wonderful Congress doesn't do their job, at least he's trying to do his. And we can give him thanks for that. So, but we talk about things that we normally don't talk about during the rest of the week. Well, I guess maybe we would have covered the OJ thing. But anyway, you can talk about anything that is on your mind. 603-835-3226 is the number to call to weigh in with what's on your mind. It could be about pop culture, current events. It could be about science, geography, geology. I don't care. If it's interesting to you, it might be interesting to me. Honestly, I mean, I'm interested in a lot of stuff. If you make it interesting, I can be interested in it. If you make it boring, even the most interesting stuff can be made boring. Then I won't be interested. But if you make it interesting, I could be boring. Here's something very interesting. Now, if you listen to the show for any amount of time, you understand and know my disdain for the TSA. Here, the Transportation Security Administration here in the United States. I don't like them. And I know some people say, well, they're a necessary evil. Yeah, I look, I'm not saying I don't want security at airports. What I'm saying is that I do not believe that when you're on American soil in an American airport, you do not leave your constitutional rights at the airport door. And for whatever reason, we as a nation have decided that the government can strip us of our constitutional rights when we walk through an airport door. I still haven't figured it out. Well, it's because airplanes can be dangerous, Rod. You're up there 30,000 feet in the air and you crash down. Look what happened to the towers, man. You mean to tell me we don't have any other possible ways of securing our skies? So all those nations, including, places like Israel, that don't do what we do, but have a better and tighter security system than we do. They don't know what they're doing? We couldn't learn from them? So we had to come up with something that doesn't work. Frankly, folks, no, the TSA, and they do this. They do these testings, these tests every once in a while at different airports on the TSA. And look, they have missed handguns. So don't tell me that they're a necessary evil when they don't do their job. I mean, there have been numerous tests that have shown that, they missed this knife and this handgun. Handgun? How the hell do you miss a handgun? And I'm not talking about putting it in your checked baggage either. For the life of me, I can't I guess they don't know what they're looking for in all those wonderful X-ray screens, but they sure are looking to pat you down. And here's from the Daily Mail. And evidently there's, I don't know, is there a chat room? There's probably a private chat room someplace for TSA agents, right? I wouldn't doubt that there isn't. If there, I would not be surprised if there is. Hey, look, there are different chat. There's something online for just about everybody. No matter what you're into, you're not alone. Unless you're some really whacked out space alien freak, there are going to be lots of other people who like and are into whatever it is, how bizarre that you're into, and you could probably find an online community that talks about it. So there being a TSA chat room or board or whatever is no surprise to me. So here is a story. TSA agents. One has been reported as saying, I say attractive women are suspicious just so I can touch them. So airport security staff revealed brazen details about their jobs. People claiming to be TSA agents in the USA took to secret sharing app Whisper. See, there you go. I never heard of Whisper. That's the point, Rod. Well, I get that. Yes, it's a secret sharing app. Whisper. What is Whisper? I'm intrigued by this now. I'm intrigued by it. I need to know what this Whisper is. Whisper in my ear what Whisper is, people. On Whisper, one confessed to patting down very attractive women given any chance. Another claims he is forced to profile Middle Eastern passengers. That's a bunch of BS. In what airport is he forced to do that? if you're of Middle Eastern descent, I hold no animosity to. I mean, I have a few. Well, you can't say Arabic because Iranians and Pakistanis, they're not Arabic. They're Persian. Ethnically speaking, there's a difference. So you have to say Middle Eastern. Now, you can still be from the Middle East. Iran is Middle East, but Iran is not Arabic. They're Persian. Oh, well, that's the same thing, Rod. No, not really. Not really the same thing. But anyway, as far as historically speaking, it's definitely not the same thing. So these people who are Middle Eastern descent, let's say, I know a few, and they're the people I know, they're good people. I mean, actually, most of them that I know are actually Christian, not Muslim, which is a death sentence on them anyway. I would not say just because you look a certain way, you have a certain ethnic background, should you be pulled aside for, shall we say, extra security measures? Now, with that said, understand that 99% of the world's terrorists right now are of Middle Eastern descent. Obviously not all of them. I mean, some of them are Somali and so they look, what you would call African or black African. Now, keep in mind that Egyptians are also African, by the way. I get people I've had people argue with me that they're not. Oh man, Egyptians aren't African. And of course, I have to say, where is Egypt? Well, it's in the Middle East. Yeah. But what continent is Egypt on? Africa? Yes, and therefore that makes them what? Egyptian. Ugh. You really, I have learned you really can't argue with idiots. In other words, if you come from a country that is located on the continent of Africa, you're African. Just like all of us here in the Americas are Americans, not just the people from the United States. There are a lot of people that don't realize that. Canadians used to get ticked off when when we say that we're Americans and that they're Canadians. Well, they're Americans too. And they are. Because they're from the Americas. They're in North America, and then, of course, there's Central America and South America. What do you call the people from Central America? I get some stupid people say, well, they're Mexican or Panamanian. Those are not, first of all, Mexico is not in Central America. It's in North America, actually. And Panama is not the only Central American country. Yet you have to deal with this sort of idiocy and stupidity from the general public every once in a while. It is mind-numbing. It is frightening. And when you try to explain your position, for some reason, somehow, they don't see the logic. Egyptians are just not Africans. I don't care. I don't care what you say. Egyptians are not Africans. Okay. You don't want the truth, or you can't accept the truth. That's not my problem. I told you. I gave you the logic behind it. Egypt is on the continent of Africa, which makes them African. Well, Canadians aren't Americans, Rod. Americans are from the United States. No, Canadians are in North America, so they are also American. You can't argue with some people. Really, you can't. You can't argue with a fool because it'll turn you into a fool. I've learned this. So these people, I'm not saying that these people need to be patted down every time because they don't. But if there's a reason to, go ahead. And I mean a legit reason. Not some of these reasons that some of these TSA personnel, at least people claiming to be TSA agents, on Whisper. Staff claiming to be employed by America's Transportation Security Administration have been sharing anecdotes about their role, and there have been some unsettling confessions. Now, writing on a secret sharing forum, Whisper, one stated, "I'm a TSA agent. I always pull really attractive women to the side and say they are suspicious so I can touch them." Now, we know some of this stuff is actually true because it has been proven to be true, and we've actually seen it on these monitors and cameras. And if you ever believe that the TSA says, well, you know, especially when it comes to this new DNA or facial scanning stuff, or we're going to get rid of it. Remember when they told us that all those wonderful naked body scanners out there, that stuff was private and it gets deleted until what? Until a ton of them ended up on the internet. So don't believe a damn thing that they tell you, but believe everything that they do. Because they've already proven themselves to be unreliable as far as controlling themselves. So we know that they have put aside, taken aside. Look, we've had people being accused of being pedophiles working for the TSA, pulling over little children for no apparent reason, and giving them pat downs and feel ups and. And look, what was that guy's name who started this whole mess with the TSA? Don't touch my junk, bro. And they got mad at him. Why? I mean, the times I've been patted down by the TSA, you know, they said, well, now I'm going to do this. And I said, you're only going to do it once. And they said, well, why would you say that? Why am I even here in this line? I have nothing on me. I have done nothing suspicious. So if you need to get to do this so I can get onto my flight, you're only going to do it once. And I make damn clear that they're not going to tear apart my clothing and my shoes. And I'd never forget the time coming out of McAllen. This is why I do not trust the TSA, folks. I'm flying out of McAllen, Texas. I go to the restroom, wash my hands like you're supposed to do, a good person, right? You know, cleanly person. Then you go through the TSA. And then they say, well, you know, you've been randomly selected. Randomly selected? I'm like the first person in line in this small little dinky airport. Okay. So they swab my hands and my shoes. Oh, your hands pop up for blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just washed my hands in your restroom. So whatever that residue is came in your freaking soap. And I made it very clear at that particular point in time that whatever they were doing, they were only going to get to do it once. And if they wanted to call the police officer and have me arrested, so be it. But they were only going to do what they were going to doing once. And afterwards, well, we're sorry to delay you, sir. Yeah, freaking freaks. I mean, you do have, I'll get more into this TSA stuff when we get back. Hold on, folks.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Six 603-835-3226. Welcome back. Flying is very, it's very convenient. It is, for the most part, is extremely safe. It's efficient for what it is. But it's getting more and more difficult to police, as if you want to say it that way, simply because of the volume of people around the globe who are able to utilize it. And airlines are at fault for this. Make no mistake about it. And it's not I'm not accusing them of doing something bad. It's not all bad. I mean, partly it's due to them being able to shove more people onto a plane and thus lowering the price of a flight, which is good. I don't see a problem with some of these budget airlines that, what is it, $69 one way, depending on where you're going, $109, whatever. I've seen those. $89 one way well, they used to have those. I don't know if they still have that price, like less than $100 for one way. So for less than $200 round trip, you could go from Boston's airport to Florida. And that $200. Are you kidding me? And they have all kinds of deals down there in Florida for hotel stays or what have you. So it can be really, for $500, you could go on a weekend extended weekend vacation to Florida if you're from New England. That's unheard of. And that's similar all around the globe, really, of what's happening. And just to prove it, the world's hub airports they're just busting at the seams. Like I believe that the United States' busiest airports, which are Atlanta's airport and Chicago O'Hare, you wouldn't believe that they'd be able to handle any more aircraft, but they do on an annual basis. They seem to increase, and they increase the terminal size and runways. But the world's busiest airport is evidently Heathrow outside of London, England. And they're now handling up to 8,800 landings and takeoffs per day. I mean, that's hundreds of thousands of passengers per day going through London's Heathrow. That's just insane. Now, can you imagine? Now, if London's Heathrow does not have a TSA sort of system like we have. Now, I've never been through Heathrow, but from what I understand, the people have, it's not a TSA sort of system. They have tight security, extremely tight security. But if they had our TSA system, there's no way in hell they'd be able to get that many people through. So the TSA is actually hindering, to a degree, how many people can actually fly. And you would think that the airlines would be on top of this and be demanding some change. And indeed, I do believe some of them are. They're starting to try to really push. Although there is an airline out of Brazil that wants to take the seats out of their aircraft. They want to make it standing. So they could charge $30 a flight. They can put more people on the aircraft if they don't have seats. They just stand. I don't know how the hell do you secure people? Taking off and landing can be rough. How do you secure people if all they're doing is standing? And if you can put 400 people on a plane that can only seat 150, how is a TSA going to handle that? Lines. You have to go to the airport 3 hours early. It's bad enough that you got to go at least an hour and a half early in most airports now. At least they tell you, get there 2 hours early before your flight. Why? Why? I'm flying because I want to save time. I'm not flying because I want to spend more time. There are places, believe it or not, there are places, folks. People have decided that it's easier and faster to drive or take a bus than it is to fly, because by the time they get through TSA on both ends of the airport, they could have already driven there. Just saying. Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
Zero 3-835-3226. Welcome back. Glad that you are here on this Freedom Friday, Open Mic Friday. TSA. Yeah, can you believe that London goes through 8,800 planes a day? That's insane. I can't. The problem with airports is they are not pedestrian friendly. They're really not. I mean, some airports they're mini cities within themselves. I get that. They're so large, and you get in. Once you get past the TSA gate, it's you don't have to leave it. What was the story? The Tom Hanks movie where the guy had to live in the airport because he couldn't get out. I didn't see the movie, so I don't know the whole gist of it other than that he had to kind of live in the airport for a while. There was some issue with his visa or something. But in some airports that I've been to, I can see somebody they can't get any fresh air, that's for damn sure, because they can't step outside. But I can see how if they have the money, because it ain't cheap, they could stay in an airport for a little while. And I'm just saying money because, the eating aspect is airports are extremely expensive for food. They really are. Food and drink is just redonkulous at an airport. Costs, I mean, coffee can be had reasonably, I guess. But other than that, I mean, it's still, depending on where you are in the airport, it's $2 for a bottle of soda that's usually like $1.20. Anybody notice that? No, soda is like ridiculous expensive. But anyway, so you have, and this is outside of Bloomberg's New York City, where you're not allowed to get more than 16 ounces at a time. It's not cheap, but these places are not pedestrian. I have not been to an airport yet where you can walk to it. Yeah, I get it. They're usually set outside of major metropolis areas. They're set, but there are no sidewalks leading up to the airport. None. I haven't been to an airport yet. I don't care how big or small the city or town is. Haven't been to an airport yet where there are sidewalks leading up to the airport. You can't walk to an airport. You just can't walk to it. And that's too. It's not pedestrian friendly, and it's in places. Not every place that has public transportation is the public transportation efficient getting to the airport. Case in point, Logan International Airport in Boston. Now, our subway system, if you call it, our train system is called the T. There is no trains or subway that goes to Logan Airport. If you want a public bus transportation, you've got to take the bus. And that's not so easy either. But you cannot get to the airport, Boston Logan Airport. You can't get there by walking. Oh, hell, you're not getting there by walking. Nope. So you've got to take a bus of some sort, either a chartered bus or public bus. You can't get there by a subway or train or trolley because they don't have it. So you got to drive there, or you got to get there by some motor vehicle. That's the only way. Now, that is highly inefficient, actually, especially in a town like Boston. And you wonder why there are so many delays that come out of Logan. Well, for people coming out of Logan, because there's no possible way to get back to get out of society into the airport, or out of the airport into society without ground transportation. That's the only way you're getting there. You're not getting there by underground. You're not getting there by what we call the T, the T system. I realize that the street buses are part of the T, but what everybody really understands as the T is the trains and the subway in Boston. Because the train, the T trains do go underground in the city, and they come above ground outside of the city. And there are parts of the city where it's above ground as well. But you can't get to the airport. Boston Logan International Airport is one of the most difficult airports in the nation that I have been to get to. It really is. And then after you do that, you have to go through the stupid TSA. And Boston's TSA has failed, from what I have read. They've failed numerous times at these security test procedures. And now they want to give them some more security tools, this facial recognition stuff. Oh, only for international flights, for now. You got to get your face scanned. Oh, and the TSA promises, well, we only keep it for 14 days, 2 weeks. Really? Is that like the original full naked body scanners? Nobody else got to see those? You didn't keep those on file until they ended up on the internet? Here's some other things that TSA agents wrote. I'm a TSA agent, and I always pull really attractive women to the side and say they're suspicious so I can touch them. I'm a TSA agent, and we are forced to profile people who look Middle Eastern or may look like terrorists. Well, we know that's a lie because they let all these... Wearing a burqa, they don't even have to go through the scanning machine if they're wearing a burqa. How does that happen? But a nun gets patted down, by the way, a Christian nun. We've seen that. I'm a TSA agent. I'm super nice to the Middle Eastern passengers because I know how hard they have it in airports. Not in America. They seem to have it pretty easy. I work for the TSA and I have no idea what to look for when I x-ray people's bags. I believe that because that's why people get patted down so much. I've had a TSA agent say that my binoculars were suspicious in my bag, and my whole bag had to be checked because of my binoculars. Well, you're coming off a vacation on a cruise. Do you think maybe, somebody's going to have binoculars and cameras when you're going on a vacation, when you're going on a cruise? Yeah, I would think so, but evidently they didn't know what it looked like. You don't know what binoculars and cameras look like. Yeah. Hey, circle that. That looks suspicious. Of course, they have the other stupid TSA agent say, yeah, there's nothing in the bag that's going to stick me, is there? Without even listening for the answer. No. She asked me 3 freaking times, and the third time I looked at her and said, no, check the bag. I literally said that. And if you're not going to listen to an answer, why are you even asking the damn question? I work for TSA and I hate it. White people are so stuck up. Guessing this is a brown person TSA agent. I work for the TSA and I take your stuff when you can't take it onto the plane. Yeah, remember you brought too much shampoo? Yeah, you can't. The fingernail clip. I wonder how many pairs of fingernail clippers TSA agents have ended up with. I work for the TSA and I make $36 an hour, which was highly unlikely in that one because depending on your region, it's more likely that if you're just a simple agent, starting out agent, it's $16 an hour. That's still over $30,000 a year. But hey, that's a lot of work, Rod, for only $30,000. Oh, BS. They may have to put up with a lot of grief from passengers for good reason because they cause passengers a lot of grief. I hate working for the TSA. The officers are so immature. They are, actually. I'm sorry, there are people that work for the TSA that there's no way. When the TSA came into being, this is why we have this problem. The TSA came into being when the economy was starting to roar. And the unemployment rate was extremely low. So who are you going to get to be a TSA agent for $15, $16, $17, $15 to $20 an hour? Well, a bunch of people that probably have just gotten, finished their 10th year working for their local McDonald's. I'm not kidding. Now, I'm not saying, TSA agents should be in decent physical condition. And they should have something more, they should be more interested in stuff other than computer games. But I guarantee you, if you go to your airport and just scan your TSA agents, you can probably picture most of them sitting in front of a computer for 12 hours a day. Or an Xbox. Because they're overweight. They have no interpersonal skills whatsoever. And yet you give them a badge with power. And that's a terrible combination. I'm just saying. So, and of course there is a TSA agent says, "I'll tell you a secret. We don't like to do pat downs as much as you, if not even more," which is also blatant lie. Well, I suppose if you're a straight TSA agent and you have to pat down another guy, that may be very distasteful. I can see where that can be distasteful. But guarantee if you're a straight TSA agent with a straight guy, you're not gonna linger over certain parts of the male anatomy. I'm just saying. Just saying. I work for the TSA and I love to see the faces of people who insist my job is pointless if I show them all the scary things we find hidden and stuff. How about showing us the scary things that are shown that you miss? and how often you miss it. Another TSA a parent TSA worker says, I work for the TSA and I'm vigilant and I work hard. I contribute to my agency and make sure 9/11 doesn't happen again. Not on my watch. Never forget those that lost lives that day on 9/11/2001. Well, yeah, so far you haven't prevented anything like that. Does anybody realize that? TSA has not prevented any sort of thing like that. Well, you never know, Rod. What if the person with a gun? Come on. People weren't getting on board planes who weren't supposed to get on board with planes with guns before TSA. So you can't tell me that they're preventing it. I mean, half the time it's even, how many, you'd be surprised how many legislators around the country who are legally licensed to carry claim they forget they have a gun on them. If you've ever worn it, sometimes if you wear a gun, you forget you have it until you need it. Because, the holsters and everything, the way they fit and are tucked into the body, they're very comfortable, and you forget that they're there. I know. I've worn guns before. And sometimes if it's the right kind of gun, when the right kind of holster placed in the right kind of place in your body, you forget it's there. You don't feel it. Now, I know people are saying, how can you forget you have a firearm? Well, how can you forget your dog or your baby in the car? How do you forget your coffee on your roof some mornings? It just happens. It really does. I mean, especially going to an airport, you got all this stuff going on in your head, and you just sort of, because you probably put it on every day like your underwear, and you just don't even think about it. And so you get to the airport and you realize, oh my God, I forgot to take it off, or I forgot to put it in the checked baggage or something. Legislators do this. There are even cops that have had their firearms removed from them because they've forgotten that they were wearing them. And contrary to belief, not every cop can carry on board an airplane. Even cops are limited to carrying a firearm on public aircraft, as it were. But you can forget a firearm, believe it or not. Yes, you can. It is highly unlikely, and you really shouldn't, but you still can.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. There's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people, you suck.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $14 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Warning. Listening to the Rod Eccles Show by the Idiot Left may cause outrage, fear, a need for safety pins and/or spaces. If you experience any of these symptoms or are allergic to truth, tune in and learn something.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
Six 603-835-3226. Yes, indeed, that is the call-in number. Should you wish to join me here live here on the program? Broke. Yes, broke is broke. Broke. New FEC reports show that DNC finished June 2017 $3.3 million in debt. Under the leadership of former Obama official Tom Perez, a new FEC report reveals that DNC finished the month of June $3.3 million in debt. This is a nasty guy, by the way. The DNC is still in rough financial shape. Finished last month over $3 million in debt. The DNC, the National Committee, is trying to scramble to raise money to cover the deficit, as well as to begin raising funds for the upcoming 2018 election season. Couldn't happen to a better, but now I'm sorry, but wait a minute. How is it that the DNC is broke? If the American people are, this is what we keep hearing from people like Maxine Waters and everything. American people don't like the Republicans and don't like Donald Trump's policies. They like Democratic policies. But yet Democrats still can't win an election, a special election anyway. And they're over $3 million in debt. You would think that the money would be rolling it. Maybe they should get more even though they've adopted Bernie Sanders. I guess Bernie Sanders' clout hasn't rolled over to the DNC, the Democratic National Committee. Democratic Party is just broke. They're broke. I think it's funny. Now don't count these people out, though, folks. Some of the most dangerous animals on the planet are liberal Democrats. And some of the most dangerous people within the liberal Democrat realm are broke liberal Democrats, because they will do anything at that particular point. They have nothing to lose. They need to break themselves out of their financial bondage. They will do anything. They will say anything. They will get you to believe anything. I wouldn't trust these people at all. But that's they will say and do anything. So now they're over $3 million in debt. I don't know, how the hell do you get $3 million in debt when you're a political party? Can't you just call a donor? You know, one of your, well, you're a Democrat, so you know most of your wealthy donors are cheap bastards anyway. But you've got enough, super wealthy people. Go to Mark Zuckerberg, for crying out loud. Well, I got some stuff here on Zuck too. Yeah, it's Zuck. Evidently, they did a hypothetical election, and Mark Zuckerberg, if the election were held today, would tie President Donald Trump. Are you kidding me? Zuckerberg, there's no way in hell I could ever put up with a Mark Zuckerberg as president. I can't stand the way he talks now. Can you imagine if this guy were the president of the United States? Absolutely. It would be, it'd be over. Done. Cooked. Put a fork in us.
Today, there's a beer for everyone.
Hey, me and the guys are going out for beer. You want to come along?
Nah, I got a lot of data to enter into the computer tonight.
Now, there's a brew for the future.
Want me to bring you something back?
Thanks, but I got some right here.
Microsoft Brew.
You got a beer tap on your computer?
With a head so thick you can float a mouse on it.
Let me get this straight. You make your own beer with the computer?
With the right software, you can do anything.
Microsoft Brew.
Here, I call this one Windows 95.
I don't know. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
And if you got to get there quicker, try the new ISDN malt liquor.
When I found out I had atrial fibrillation, a serious but highly treatable heart condition, the first thing I thought of was who would take care of my wife and children if anything were to happen to me? My doctor recommended Prevactin. I had a lot of questions, so I did some research. It turns out Prevactin is the #1 recommended drug for Crohn's disease. I think my doctor's trying to kill me and steal my wife.
Doctors. They'll stop at nothing to get your wife.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
and so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
Yes, indeed. 3 hours is all we ask per day. And it is now the third hour. The fastest 3 hours in Internet Talk Radio is right here on the Rod Eccles Show on this Friday morning.
Welcome to Freedom Friday.
Yes, it is Friday, July number 21 in the year of our Lord 2017. Welcome to the weekend, all of my friends. I'm glad that you made it here with us. Fast week. The fastest week on Internet Talk Radio is also right here. Unbelievable that it's already Friday. So as we get ready to slide, is anything happening this Friday? Or this weekend? No, it's no holidays this weekend, right? It's kind of a light weekend. July 4th is behind us. Now it's just summertime. 603-835-3226 is the call-in number. Again, it is really now we're full swing. If you didn't think so before, but we are definitely full force, full swing into summer right now, and I'm enjoying it. I think I may be. Well, I don't know how you catch allergies. I think I got an allergy. Yeah, because during the weekend, all weekend after getting back from my little mini vacation, I wasn't feeling my best. But and somebody said, well, allergies. People keep telling me allergies. I don't have allergies. Well, you do now. Yeah, well, I'm not going to go out and load up on Claritin or any anti-allergy medication. I'm one of those foolish people that happen to believe when you start leaning on things like that, chemicals like that, your body doesn't learn how to fight on its own, and you become dependent on those types of things. It's one of the things I find about some people. I haven't been to the doctor, and I went a year ago. I was okay, and I went this year, and they told me I have diabetes. So I feel fine. I said, I know. And part of the reason is that you're not out there. Now, don't get me wrong. Diabetes is nothing to take lightly. But there are diseases like that people sort of live with for a long period of time with no damage to their body, really. But then as soon as they start taking the drugs for that, all of a sudden their body gets used to it and they can't not take that kind of stuff, which is pretty unfortunate. And again, I know somebody's going to say, well, Rod, are you telling people not to take diabetic drugs? No. I'm just saying that I think we as a society, we are too quick to the drug. I think we are. Now, obviously, there are cases when that can't be helped. The case is urgent. But I think overall, generally speaking, we are too quick to the drug. And I think that does us more harm than good, more often than not. So I always say, I don't like shots. I don't like taking pills. I always try all sorts of natural ways to get rid of a headache first, and then I'll take the aspirin or ibuprofen. But sometimes I don't have to take it. I don't have to take it. So that means I don't. But I try not to get headaches in the first place. And there are a myriad of reasons. And one of the most arrogant people on the planet I've ever heard answer the question, well, what do you take for a headache? Was Deepak Chopra. He was on an early episode of Dr. Oz, and he had Dr. Andrew Weil on and Deepak Chopra, Dr. Deepak Chopra on, and he was asking, well, for regular, like stress, headaches and things, what do you do for a headache? And he was asking Dr. Andrew Weil, and he was talking about some natural stuff, and said, well, Dr. Chopra, what do you do for a headache? And Dr. Chopra just said, I don't get headaches. Okay. Yeah, we of us in the normal world, we don't always have the ability to de-stress every hour of the day. So, some of us are going to suffer from them. So what would you recommend that isn't an over-the-counter drug, the chemical? So there are some people that are against taking drugs no matter what, natural remedies. For the most part, I can side with them. But there are times, I believe, when it's necessary to take the chemical variants of drugs. But you got to be careful, because far too often, once you start taking them, your body gets too used to it, and you have to keep using. And I think a lot of these drugs are designed that way on purpose. Now, I can't prove it, so I'm not going to, damn the entire pharmaceutical industry. But if you're in the business of making money, which pharmaceutical companies are, then you're going to want people to want to need your product without you physically getting them addicted to it, as we know what addiction is. You might want to get them hooked on it, but you don't want to get them addicted. I know it's a fine line, but let's face it, if you start taking, you ever notice, well, I guess you would notice it's why sometimes it's hard to get off of drugs, and your medical doctor is sometimes unwittingly your worst enemy. I'm not joking. Take, for instance, diabetics. People that are type 2 diabetes, and they're on the edge of it. And these people, the doctor tells them to start taking insulin, small doses, whatever. And these people say, well, you know what? Okay, I'm going to do this, but at the same time, I'm going to do some exercise. I'm going to change my diet completely. I'm going to go the natural way and try to reactivate my pituitary gland and thyroid, and properly get my thyroid operating properly, and so I can get off this stuff. And they'll go back to their doctor, and their doctor will be very hesitant to take them off of insulin. And the only point it comes to them actually taking them off is because they actually get their body working back the way it's supposed to work. It becomes a hindrance or a danger to them to keep taking it. And that's when a doctor says, okay, now we'll stop. Not before. They won't monitor. They don't say, well, we're going to wean you off a little bit as everything kicks back on. No, keep taking it. Keep taking it. And I'm not saying that this is how they are trained, because this is how our medical system works. We don't try to keep people healthy in this country. We really don't. Our healthcare system is a misnomer. We don't try to keep people healthy. What we try to do is we try to maintain it once they get ill. Now, that's what we want to do. That's why our system is so expensive. Many other countries, their system might be cheaper. Well, because they emphasize, prevention and wellness up front. You know how long it took in this country for the government and insurance agencies and companies to accept alternative methods of medicine, like acupuncture and chiropractic, for instance? It took a long time. And you still have, and even nutritionalists, you still have people who want to say that nutrition has very little to do. You still have people in the medical profession that say, your nutrition has very little to do with your health when you get sick. And they'll even tell you. I mean, you even hear it today. We have all these studies on vitamins. Well, vitamins don't do anything for it. Well, first of all, that's a lie. It is. Because if vitamin supplements didn't do anything for you, then eating properly wouldn't do anything for you either, which is what they're trying to say to some degree. And I even hear Rush talk about this. Organic versus non-organic, GMO, and he says that has nothing to do with it. Yeah, it has everything to do with it. I'm sorry, but it has everything to do with it. Countries whose diets are not overly processed like ours, they have these so-called life diseases, like high blood pressure and diabetes. countries that don't have a processed diet like we do have far lower, if not nearly negligible, incidence of these life maintenance diseases. They do. And we see cultures in countries that are starting to adopt a more, what they call Western diet or habit, like the United States basically. We're starting to see these types of life maintenance diseases, high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes. We start to see those types of incidences increase. Japan, perfect example. As Japan starts, their younger generations, they start more and more. They adopt a Western style diet. They're seeing these sorts of diseases increase. So obviously, it is all about your diet. It is. It is. No, I'm not trying to be a health nut guru here, because I'm not. Maybe I should be. Maybe we all should be health nut gurus. We should forget these right now. What's the big fad now? It's still coconut water, right? Yeah, we Americans, we like to get in on these fads. And these fads often don't last very long. They last a few years at most, and then we're on to something else. Bigger, better, badder. We need to stop with the fad. Your life and your diet is not a fad. Your health is not a fad. We need to cut it out with the... If it's good for you, if it's just good for you, just keep doing it or eating it or drinking it. Forget the fads. It was... I've noticed that I like yogurt, and I've noticed there's been a big change in the yogurt aisle, and we went whole hog on this Greek yogurt fad for a little while, and it pushed out all these other yogurts, and then the typical yogurts, and now we've got all these mini brand name yogurts that have Greek style, and there are a lot of people that don't like Greek style yogurt. I don't mind it. But sometimes I prefer the regular yogurt. But again, it was a fad. Because it had more protein than, Greek yogurt supposedly has more protein than regular yogurt. But you can go down the grocery store and you could tell what a fad is. Because eventually the shelves get, you remember in the good old days when you had a simplistic choice, and all of a sudden it becomes a fad. And then they blow it up, and it becomes, a plethora of choices and brands and stuff you've never heard of before, and you start importing. But, this is real yogurt from the Middle East. I don't want real yogurt from the Middle East. You realize how far that's got to travel? In how many days or months it's got to... But, it becomes a fad, and everybody wants to get in on it. So be careful of the fads. Be careful of the chemical drugs. Your body can get used to them really quick. Just look after yourself because the way things are going, we're going to have some form of government health care. We can see what the government does when it comes to trying to get people well. They don't do a very good job of it. So do you really want yourself to be beholden to the government to either get you well again or to maintain your life? I don't.
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
603-835-3226. Welcome back. You are listening to yours truly, me, on this Friday edition of the Rod Eccles Show. Pew! 35% of Democrats say a friend's vote for Trump would strain their relationship. 35% of Democrats. Well, first of all, that's not a majority of Democrats, but it's still 35% of them. And that's pretty even with the nut job base level. I think the nut job base is around 20-25%. So, but I love 35% is by the way, this is what they say 35% is. Nearly half of liberal Democrats say Trump support restraint. 35% is nearly half? No, I'd say 45% is nearly half, but not 35%. What is it? It's 10 points away from just being a quarter, but it's 15 points away from being a half. So it's not nearly. I love this so much how they write this stuff. So 35% of Democrats say that a friend's vote or support for Trump would strain their friendship. Believe it or not, 63% say that it would not have any effect at all, and 1% says it would make their friendship stronger. Well, I guess it must be the 1% that actually Democrats, liberal Democrats, that support Trump. And here's the thing now. As you're looking at this Pew poll, you would think that because Trump is such a racist, that so many people that are minorities would be upset if their friends were Trump supporters. But only 28% of black liberals say that it would put a strain on their friendship, and only 25% of Hispanic liberals say it would put a strain on their friendship. Meaning 72 and 71% respectively would have no effect at all on their friendship. And 3% of Hispanic liberals say it would make their friendship stronger if they knew. But here's the deal, even with college grads, 44% say it would put a strain, but 55% say it would not. But notice how they're so smart because they're college grads. If you're a conservative or moderate, 25% of conservative or moderate said that support for Trump would put a strain on their friendship. Now, they're supposed to be conservatives, right? 25% of conservatives that they polled. I want to know who these conservatives... We know that there are conservatives out there that... I wouldn't call them real conservatives, but you could say they're moderates. Republicans. We know that there are Republicans out there that don't like Trump. And that's the truth. So interesting, very interesting. Jay Sekulow, there's some talk, I guess, about pardons going on in the White House, but Jay Sekulow, Trump's lawyer, says no one is discussing pardons at the White House. I listen to Jay Sekulow a lot, but it's a good thing I only have to listen to him and not look at. There's something about him that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Maybe it's his voice doesn't fit his face, or his face doesn't fit his voice, or there's something. Not that he looks or seems sleazy in any way, because he doesn't. But there's something a little bit off with how Jay Sekulow looks. I don't know. Maybe he's too clean. In this day and I don't know. Anybody else get an not an uncomfortable but an odd feeling when they look at Jay Sekulow? Again, I'm not accusing him of anything. I listening to him talk, especially on Hannity, he sounds very knowledgeable, very honest, very very erstwhile. But it's not that I wouldn't trust him, but I wouldn't trust him. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't even go down that aisle. But there's just something that just does not seem normal when you look at Jay Sekulow. I don't know. Maybe he's really an angel in disguise. I don't. That could be it. But then I should trust him, right?
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Bring the rain.
Got a story here from a McDonald's. McDonald's is well, fast food chain. If you don't know what McDonald's is, everybody knows what McDonald's is. But they've run into problems like this in the past, and I guess here's a new spat of them. Scott Naff, N-A-F-F, is an officer with the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries. In other words, he's the equivalent of park police, I guess. Virginia Game and Inland Fisheries. So last Thursday, a McDonald's employee refused to serve him food he had already paid for after seeing him in his police uniform and cruiser. The account of what happened comes from the officer's wife, who wrote about it on her Facebook account. Now, of course, when you write it on Facebook, everybody's got to see it, right? She writes thus: My husband just got home from working a 13-hour day to share a story with me that has left me completely shocked. Around 7 p.m. tonight, he took a break and went to the drive-thru of the McDonald's at Perham Road on Route 1 in Virginia. He was in uniform and in his police vehicle. He paid for his food and drove forward to the next window. The young man who was working that window looked at him and backed away from the window, mouthing something to my husband. And my husband couldn't hear him since the window was closed. The guy finally walked to the window and slid it open. And my husband told him that he couldn't hear him. And the guy said, "I ain't serving no police," and closed the window. The McDonald's employee proceeded to tell everyone in McDonald's, including the manager, that he was not going to serve the police. So the employee stared at my husband trying to figure out what they should do. After all, he had paid for his food, but no one wanted to give it to him. Finally, one guy brought it over to him without a single word, and my husband pulled around the building. A gentleman who was in the McDonald's at the time approached his car and told my husband how he had never seen anything like this. He said the guy had told the manager that she could fire him, but he wasn't going to serve the police. According to an update on the first Facebook post, the employee was fired after the franchise owner was contacted about the incident. The owner also issued a statement of regret from to the Richmond Times Dispatch. Can you? Well, I mean, I can imagine people, low-paying idiots standing around thinking, well, what do we do if he's not going to give him his food? Well, the first thing would be, if he's already paid for it and it's there, you go give it to him. You don't stand around there like doe eyes in headlights, which is evidently what everybody was doing. I could see. And why did the manager not fire this person? I can fire you for well, I ain't serving no police. Well, I can fire you. Well, I ain't serving no police. Okay, you're fired. I mean, why has it got to go to the franchise owner? You just fire the dumbass. If you work in a fast food chain, notice how you can deny service to a person in uniform, be they a cop or other first responder or military personnel. But God forbid, if you're a Christian businessman and you don't want to make a gay wedding cake for a lesbian couple, or I should say, God forbid you don't want to make a gay pizza for a lesbian couple's wedding reception. That, by the way, never took place. So you can there are certain people that can be discriminated against in our society, and certain people who cannot. So I guess you can't discriminate against gays, even though that might be against your religion to actually support such a community. But the police, hell, you can deny them service day in, day out. Nobody's going to do anything about it. What kind of sad, sick society do we now live in, where those are the rules? It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever read. I ain't serving no police. Why? Did they arrest you at one point? And he's not a street cop, he's a fish and game warden. It's just some of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard of when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I ain't serving no police, so he ain't getting his food. Well, he's already paid for it, so if you don't give it to him, guess what that is? Yeah, you just robbed him. Now, well, it may be less than $10, but still, it's an arrestable offense. You're stealing from him. That's an arrestable offense. Somebody's got to go to jail over that one if he doesn't get his food that he paid for. We can give him a refund. Screw that. He doesn't want a refund. He wants his food. He's probably hungry. Virginia of all places. I ain't serving no police. No, wait. Well, no, he's got a wife. Well, that still doesn't mean anything, but he's got a... What happens if the officer was gay? We do have gay people who are police officers. You know, we have members of the LGB community. I don't think we have any T. But we have we have police officers that are lesbian or gay or maybe even bi. Now, what happens if this guy was bi or gay? Could he not have a civil lawsuit against this McDonald's? I guess that's the only way. That's the only way he could do something about it. Is without putting the silver bracelets on the perpetrator. But yeah, there you go, Virginia. I ain't serving no police at a McDonald's. Now, when you go to work for places like this, you got to understand you're going to have to serve anyone who walks through the door. If your company says serve them, then you don't have a right to say, I ain't serving them. You could, if you have some sort of religious objection to it, but the company that you work for says we're still going to serve them, then you have the duty and the right and the responsibility to go to your fellow coworkers, unless you're the only one there, and you say, look, I can't serve this person. Can you handle this particular customer for me? That's the way it works. You don't yell, I ain't serving no police, and then walk away. That's not the way it goes. And then you have a sit down with your manager, and your manager says, well, you're going to have to next time. If you don't, you're going to be fired. That's the way it should work. And if you're the only person on duty, then if your company says, well, you got to serve them, then and you know this ahead before you accept the job, then I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. You either serve or you leave. I don't care who it is. Can you imagine walking into a let's just say Rainbow Cleaners, and it's owned by a gay couple, let's say, and so a tranny comes through the door and wants her boa and dress clean, and you say, well, I'm not serving any trannies or any gay people. You already knew that you had to. You already knew you were going to have to. Why would you object? Why would you take the job if this was going to be a cause, was going to be a sort of a source of consternation for you? You shouldn't take the job. But you did, so now you have an obligation. Regardless of what your so-called beliefs are, if your beliefs were that firm, you wouldn't have taken the job in the first place, because they tell you, well, we're going to have some customers that come in that are gay and some that are tranny. We serve everybody here. You have to serve them, okay? Do you have a problem with that? If you say no, and then you turn around and say, well, I ain't serving this tranny, nah, that's not going to fly. I'm gonna predict that we're going to start seeing, as part of employee paperwork, orientation, that you have to sign papers stating that you will serve anybody and everybody, unless if you have a particular objection, to let them know then and there, in which case you probably won't get the job. Here's from the Daily Signal: voter fraud database tops 1,000 proven cases. Proven cases, but we don't have any voter fraud. In this country. No, we don't. I'm sorry, but we don't. We don't have voter fraud. Isn't that what Obama said? Hey, we don't have any voter fraud here. So as the Presidential Advisory Commission on Election Integrity convenes its first meeting, the issue of voter fraud in American elections has become even more contentious and hyperbolic. Now, I don't know why it's becoming, I know why it's becoming contentious, because, Democrats are trying to protect their fraud base. But one of the left's main arguments against reform is that voter fraud simply does not occur. How liberals arrive at this conclusion, we cannot say. And this is a piece that was written by Jason Sneed, S-N-E-A-D. Now, look, I have a funny sounding name. I got to tell you, if my name was Sneed, I'd want to change it. Just saying. And not making fun of him. He looks like a normal guy. Just certain names. I mean, you can't. Why are you making fun of people's names, Rod? Well, because I have a funny sounding and funny looking name myself. But they're just Some people have cool names. You know, I know a person whose last name is Edge. Yes, E-D-G-E. Edge. How cool is that for a name? Last name. It's hard to get more cool than Edge. But I think it's a British English name. On Thursday, the Heritage Foundation is releasing a new edition of its voter fraud database featuring well over 100 new cases. The database documents well over 1,071 to be exact, instances of voter fraud spanning 47 states, including 938 criminal convictions. We don't have any voter fraud, but yet we have 938 criminal convictions over voter fraud across 47 states. Wait, what are the 3 states that don't have any? I'm probably going to guess Alaska's one, so who are the other 2? This revamped edition of the database separates cases by type of disposition, allowing readers to easily distinguish not only what type of fraud occurred, but the outcome of the case, criminal convictions, pretrial diversion programs, and other types of adjudication used in various states and counties across the country. Here are just a few examples of the egregious crimes added to the database. In Virginia, Andrew Spiels, S-P-I-E-L-E-S, a former James Madison University student, pleaded guilty to a charge stemming from his false submission of 18 voter registration forms during the summer of 2016. There ain't no voter fraud going on here. Maryland, Frederick Hubertus Slicher, S-L-I-C-H-E-R. Yeah, I changed that name too. An illegal alien living in Baltimore was convicted of numerous charges in 2014. He was residing illegally in the U.S., collecting Medicare, Social Security, and voting in U.S. elections. He was an illegal. But we ain't got no voting. Hey, Rod, you don't understand, man. We ain't got no voting fraud in this country. We ain't gonna make no voting laws because we ain't got no voting fraud. You understand? Ain't no voter fraud. Yeah, well, we ain't doing it. Well, maybe we are, but...
What if I told you that you could lose weight simply by drinking coffee? Change your coffee, change your life. Our gourmet estate-grown coffee is infused with powerful herbs that help you melt fat and keep you from feeling hungry for 6+ hours. Get results or your money back. Order yours today at skinnycoffeeshop.com. That's skinnycoffeeshop.com. Tea and water also available. skinnycoffeeshop.com.
Have a legal problem and need some serious legal advice? Then you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Any facts we say here are probably wrong. And any analysis of the law should not be followed.
There you go. Reasonable Men are here to take a twisted look at the law.
Stack your hay right.
Learn in hand. Best name in law school.
Check us out on iTunes, reasonablemen.com, or on your favorite podcast app.
Reasonable Men are back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, But now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Arriba! Yes, indeed. Have you seen this story yet? This has to do with finally there being some movement on traveling to North Korea. Yes. It looks like that on July 27th, the United States will announce a U.S. citizen ban, travel ban to North Korea. The U.S. government will soon ban its citizens from traveling to North Korea after the death of a U.S. student arrested there while on tour. Koryo Tours said the ban would be announced on July 27th and would go into effect 30 days later. It said the Swedish embassy in Pyongyang, which handles consular affairs for the U.S. in the north, informed it of the ban but did not say how long it would last. But it does seem to be the case that in just over a month it will be impossible for Americans to visit as tourists. Why the hell would you want to go there in the first place? It's about damn time. It's just idiotic that we'd go there and you use American dollars to support such a criminal and crooked regime. Claremont and McKenna punishes 7 students over blockade of Heather McDonald's speech. Yes, in April, a large group of students at Claremont McKenna College partially shut down a speech by author Heather McDonald earlier this week. The college announced the results of its response to the incident, suspending 5 students and putting 2 more on conduct probation. Well, on the evening of April 6, a group of approximately 170 individuals from the Claremont colleges and others outside our community organized, led, and executed a blockade of the Athenaeum and the Kravis Center. They breached the perimeter safety and security fence and campus safety line and established human barriers to entrances and exits. These actions deprived many of the opportunity to gather, hear the speaker, and engage with questions and comments. The blockade also breached institutional values of freedom of expression and assembly. Furthermore, this action violated policies of both the college and the Claremont colleges that prohibit material disruption of college programs and created unsafe conditions in disregard of state law. The 3 students received 1-year suspensions, 2 received a one semester suspension, and 2 were put on conduct probation. Now, so far the college has not identified the 12 students out of the 170 who were part of the blockade, but at least the school did eventually take some action. In case you've forgotten, here's what the protests look like. It looked like a mess. In case you want to know, it was a BLM protest, and Heather McDonald was at the Claremont colleges. There was a fence there, not just tape, but fencing and literal fence. And they prevented this woman and her supporters and or questioners from getting to her. I've often said this before about wonderful liberal people. You have to agree with them in everything, I guess, before they grant you their free speech rights. Otherwise you're now, again. This is they're calling people fascists, but they're the ones acting like true fascists when they prevent people from just speaking. Hey, it's amazing how hypocritical these people are. Well, they are. They're hypocritical. You can't. There's no way around it. And yeah, well, it is what it is. I'm just surprised that the college actually took some action and actually suspended some of them. Maybe colleges are starting to come around and starting to understand that they can't keep allowing this sort of thing to happen over and over again. Because if they're being invited, they're not going there out of the goodness of their heart. Obviously, they're being invited in to speak and to give their opinion on certain matters or subjects, and you have every right to question them and talk to them and debate them. That's what free societies are all about, right? Different values and different opinions and the such. But in any case, that sound means that we're out of time for today, but not only for today, but for the week. So we'll have to be back here on Monday, bright and early at 9 a.m. Hope you have a wonderful free weekend. Until then, I am out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For a Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Oppo file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the